It's cold. There is snow on the ground. There's still some ice and spots on this trail. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm prepared for the weather, for the elements. Kind of reminds me on Saturday. It was pretty cold in Lexington, as Louisville made the short trip east from their campus on I-64 to Kroger Field. Bring your coupons. The Cardinals looking to end that 5-game losing streak for the Wildcats, bring back that Governor's Cup to Louisville, a place that it feels like it should rightfully reside the bulk of the time. And the Cardinals did just that in dominating fashion, 41-14 over the Wildcats. Multiple turnovers, just ran right over them. And to be honest, it wasn't that close. It was not. Louisville certainly left some points out on that field, frozen field. You know, by the end of the game, it kind of looked like a spring game crowd for the Cardinals. It was all red and black in the crowd. It's a nice event. Again, it was cold. But you know what? It didn't matter. What do you say we hike about it? Got some dislikes. Or is there anything really to dislike? We'll find out. Got a lot of likes. And we'll do some report cards. What did I dislike? I did dislike leaving some points. Louisville leave points out on the field in the first half. And I'm nitpicking. Probably could have been 35-0 at the half if they could have converted on everything. But again, a little greedy. But rivalry games, you should be greedy. But not really too big of a dislike. What else did I dislike? It was cold. After I parked at PS1, parking structure 1 on UK's campus, and got out of the car, nice and toasty in there, had the seat warmers going, step out of the car, and 23 degrees it was as I made my walk, decent little walk from the parking garage. And you got to go around the stadium. So media parking's over here, stadium, you got to go a little bit around it. So yeah, it was 23 degrees and quite brisky, a little windy. As I was making my journey in, I was bundled up. I was all good. Did not have my beanie in about 5 feet into that walk. I was like, why did I not bring a beanie? So, again, I'm nitpicking on things that I don't like. Let's just get to the likes. I mean, we could go all day on what we liked. 5-game skid ended. Governor's Cup returned to Louisville. Great seeing the team celebrating down on Kroger Field, hoisting the Governor's Cup after Governor Steve Beshear handed it to the winning Cardinals. And they kind of rushed down to where a large collection of Louisville fans were. Kind of made their way around, and did you know the high fives? It was a great sight to see. What made it even greater was the scoreboard was hanging above it, 41-14. Really liked the complete domination, and I liked the way that the domination happened, offensively, defensively, special teams. But on offense, you got your quarterback Tyler Shuck, who can just sling it around. He only throws it 18 times. His lowest statistical output of the season. 9 of 18. We'll get to his report card later, the quarterback's grade. But just keep handing the ball off to Isaac Brown and Duke Watson. Both of them over 100 yards. Isaac Brown just surpasses Lamar Jackson's freshman running record at Louisville. Goes over 1,000 yards for the season in the same game against Kentucky in a dominating win over the Wildcats. That's how you do stuff right there. Something that I really liked, since we're speaking of Isaac Brown, and I mentioned this in my post-game report and sent it out on X when it happened. It was kind of perfect timing type of situation. Isaac Brown had just eclipsed 1,000 yards. And there's a PA address announcer in many press boxes around the country, including at Kentucky. And they kind of give a play-by-play as well as notable moments, statistical records, things like that. When they come up, they'll announce it to the media. And so with Brown had just come over that 1,000 yards, the press box PA guy begins saying something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing here, would love to have had it recorded. Louisville running back Isaac Brown becomes the first true freshman in program history to run for 1,000 yards. As he is saying that, and it adds a little bit more, as he is saying that, Isaac Brown is being handed the ball. Isaac Brown sees the sideline. I can see what's unfolding. I'm listening to the PA dresser while I'm watching Isaac Brown heading towards that sideline on the Louisville side of the field. And I actually say out loud, keep talking. And all of a sudden, boom. As he's basically saying the words, 1,000 yards, Isaac Brown takes off, deuces up, 67-yard touchdown to put the game to bed, as he indicated once he reached the end zone. Talk about perfect timing that it was. It was that kind of day for Isaac Brown. And the defense, my apologies for being kind of conditioned to kind of expect something bad to happen. A blown coverage, give up a fourth down, a big play up the middle, you can't catch them. But even on that first drive, MJ Griffin had what was a touchdown-saving shoestring tackle. Thankfully, because moments later, Mary McDonald chases down what is about to be another big yardage gain for the Kentucky offense right out of the gate. He chases him down, says, "Excuse me, that football that you currently have is mine and I would like it back." He just walks up basically and took it from him. Tone set. We'll talk more about McDonald and the defensive backs in the upcoming report card. But what a tone setter. It's a Mary McDonald. Liked it. As I mentioned at the beginning of my likes, like seeing that 5-game losing streak snapped. Which brings me to another like. It's nice to see the end of the regular season on a bang with some momentum. Like that a lot. Well done, Jeff Brom and coaching staff and team. Way to make a statement at the end of the season. Like I said, I could keep going with likes. Another quick note on the running backs. It wasn't just all Isaac Brown. Duke Watson, goodness gracious. 17 yards a carry. Wow, the Louisville ground game's in good shape. Just got to keep those guys in the red and black. And I like the chances of them doing just that. Well, if the likes and dislikes are an indicator as well as the score, we've got a pretty good report card coming up for the Louisville Cardinals in their regular season finale. Their 41-14 win at Kentucky, bringing home the Governor's Cup. The Governor's Cup series started in 1994. After a 70-year absence. That's when the Governor's Cup series began, though. It was in 1994. And since 1994, even after this 5-game losing streak to Kentucky, Louisville, after their win on Saturday, now leads the Governor's Cup series 16-14. Let's see if the Cardinals can start putting some wins together and create some space again, and then not lose 5 in a row again. It sounds like a good deal. So, with all that said, what do you say we get to the report card? Start dishing out some grades. Let's do that. All right, quarterbacks. Not the biggest day statistically. Tyler Shuck just threw 18 passes, completed 9 of them for only 128 yards. He did average 14.2 yards per completion, but he directed the offense the way it needed to be directed, and Kentucky couldn't stop the run, so just keep pound, pound, pound. And the Cardinals did do that. But Tyler Shuck, who also ran for 11 yards on his own, wasn't the only quarterback to play against the Wildcats. Harrison Bailey, Travis Egan, Pierce Clarkson. Pierce Clarkson rushed for 14 yards on 3 carries late in the game during the fourth quarter. It's cool to see him getting some late snaps. But Tyler Shuck, again, even though he didn't put up some huge numbers throwing the ball wise, certainly directed an offense that put up 41 points and could have put up a few more. But it was a confident offense and kind of had that swagger, and really liked the way that he just kind of controlled that group throughout. How can you do anything but an A for the quarterbacks for their 41-14 win over Kentucky? Running backs. Isaac Brown, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. Duke Watson, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. You also saw Maurice Turner get 5 carries. Kewan Brown got 5 carries. It was a good day for the Louisville running backs. Again, Isaac Brown surpassing Lamar Jackson for the freshman rushing record at U of L. Gets 1,000 yards on the season. What a future he has. What a future Duke Watson has. Duke Watson, again, 17.3 yards per carry. Isaac Brown, longest 67-yard touchdown. Duke Watson goes for 50 yards, over 50 yards for his touchdown, one of his 2 touchdowns. As I climb this hill and talk and run out of breath, that's how the defensive players for Kentucky must have felt. Actually, probably much worse. Running backs, A+. Well done. Get you excited for the future. Wide receivers. I think a lot of expectations were that the wide receivers would be highly involved in Louisville's game plan at Kentucky. I suspect the Kentucky coaches anticipated that as well. Well, they were wrong, as Louisville ran over them. ran over them, 350 something total yards. But we're talking about the wide receivers. Chris Bell had 3 catches for 64 yards to lead the Cardinals. And really, you know, that's kind of the highlight for the Louisville wide receivers. But hey, you know what? They did their job. Yes, they did. And they helped Louisville win 41-14. Wide receivers, hey. Tight ends. Tight ends job, block. That's pretty much what the tight ends were. Game plan was to do against Kentucky, and certainly helped the Cardinals rush for over 350 yards. Tight ends, well, you didn't get any receptions against Kentucky. You did a heck of a job helping Louisville thump the rival Wildcats. That's an A for the tight ends. Offensive line, wow. Another stellar performance by the Cards. Guys in the trenches on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, 350 something yards rushing. Tyler Shuck, pretty dang clean. Louisville offense was pretty clean. Not many shooting themselves in the foot moments to talk about. Just a dominating performance across the line. And the O-line, which has been consistent over the second half of the season, especially the wins over Clemson, Pittsburgh, and now Kentucky. Offensive line, that's an A+. This old stone fence kind of reminds me of the Louisville defense against Kentucky. So let's get that going. Defensive line, what a performance Ashton Gelati had. What a performance the whole defensive line had, really. But Ashton Gelati, highest graded out defensive lineman. He was again a Pro Football Focus All ACC performer for the following weekend's games. Congratulations to him. You saw multiple guys, consistent pressure, getting into that backfield. Helped be a reason there were so many turnovers. And how about Ramon Puryear? What a way to finish out your regular season in your final year as a Cardinal, former walk-on, now scholarship player. Got the 20-yard scoop and score. That's impressive. That's something a defensive lineman likes to dream about during his career. Ramon Puryear did it 3 times in 2024. And the most sweetest one had to be the one 20 yards on Kroger Field. Touchdown. Defensive line, for your performance against Kentucky, A+. Well done. Linebackers, another great performance by the duo of Stanquan Clark and TJ Quinn. Stanquan Clark forced a fumble, big moment. Stanquan Clark was again a PFF All-ACC performer following the weekend's action. Congratulations to him. TJ Quinn had 1.5 tackles for a loss amongst his stops, including participating in a sack. Good day for the linebackers again. And again, linebackers are going to be just like the defensive line. A+ for helping keep that Kentucky game, that Kentucky offense, which really isn't much to speak of to start with. That's their fault, not yours. Linebackers did exactly what they needed to do and then some. A+. It's first quarter, Kentucky's first series. Louisville won the coin toss and deferred to the second half. So it's the opening series of the game. And the Wildcats are moving. They've got a true freshman quarterback, Cutter Beloy. It's behind center, his first start of the season. And they're moving the ball. MJ Griffin makes a shoestring tackle that certainly saved a touchdown that was, what, 60, 70 yards or so? That was a big play, but the drive continued. Another big play. But here comes Tamarian McDonald. Takes the ball away, momentum shifts. It's a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. I just call it a theft. Or, I don't know. Yeah, it was just an amazing play. Tamarian McDonald also saw a moment when Cutter Beloy stepped back to throw. He read the pass perfectly, stepped in front of the receiver, interception, returned it a little bit. 2 takeaways for Tamarian McDonald against Kentucky. You know what that does? That gets you on the PFF All-ACC team. That's right, Louisville had 3 players, all on defense, present on the PFF All-ACC team. To recap, Ashton Gelati, Stanquan Clark, and Tamarian McDonald. Tavion Nicholson, interception in the end zone, loved it. Quincy Riley, nice one-handed grab on his pick, loved it. And just not giving up big plays and making play after play after play. Defensive backs, it's been a tough year for you. You're ending on an A+. How could you not? Give me that ball. I have had this trail all to myself. Not surprising, it's Monday afternoon. Between lunch and quitting time, it's close to freezing, totally overcast. Not a really popular time to go hiking. But you know, when I have those moments, to me, those are special moments. When you can have something like that, an experience where you can come out outdoors and you feel like you've got it to yourself, that's special. I had that in the Wind Rivers in Wyoming over the summer. Basically felt like I had the whole area that I was at all to myself. You want to check that out, there's the link, top corner, somewhere in there. But that leads me to special teams. Special teams, Brady Hodges, let me get my notes on the special teams. Brady Hodges had 4 punts land inside the 20. One of his punts went for over 50 yards. Brock Travelstead hit both of his field goals, one from 21, one from 20. All 5 of his point after attempts. It was a good day for the special teams. No miscues, no shooting yourself in the foot. A+ for the special teams. Coaching staff. Great performance. Not much to dislike in that one at all. Let's start with this though when we're talking about the coaching staff. I asked one of the players after the game a question along this topic that I'm about to bring up. I should have asked Jeff. There seemed to be, and I'm almost certain that there was, an emphasis on staying focused, stay in your head. A clear part of the game plan during the Mark Stoops era at Kentucky has been to stomp on the Cardinal bird logo, throw trash cans, talk trash, do as much as you can to get in the Louisville players' heads. And unfortunately, I mean, when you win 5 straight, it must work. You know what else works really well? When that kind of stuff is happening on the field, and it certainly happened on the field. There was a lot of talking, especially from those uniforms. Why does Kentucky have black uniforms? I was going to say from the blue side. And they're wearing black. It should have been a red versus blue, but let's get back to it. It should be red versus blue every year. Let's get back to the Louisville coaching staff, who would agree with me on that point, I bet. To have the guys so focused in, knowing to expect that was going to come from the Kentucky, and to not react the way Kentucky was wanting them to react made it worse for Kentucky. Spun that psychological drama, that X factor right back on themselves. Multiple personal fouls on the should have been wearing blue team. So the point of emphasis to make that essentially part of your game plan, don't let them get in your heads. Let them talk all they want. Do it on the field, and on the field they did do. So controlling the emotions in a pretty swagger way. Yeah, I like that. I mean, that helps set the tone early. And setting the tone, you know, the defense is certainly taking a number of shots, rightfully earned, maybe some too far from the fan base and the media for their roller coaster season. But they set the tone against Kentucky. Again, Tamari McDonald with his "give me the ball, that's mine," just shifted momentum. Turnover after turnover after turnover. Again, Ramon Purrier, awesome to see him get a third defensive touchdown in 2024. What an experience for him. Offensively, the decision to let's just keep giving it to Isaac Brown and Duke Watson. See how far they could take us. See if they can stop them. Kentucky clearly could not stop them. Like Ashton Gelati said following the Pittsburgh win, this is who we are. This is what we're capable of. Yeah, they displayed that once again. Offensively, defensively, special teams, the X factors, all of it. Big win for Louisville. A+, Jeff Brom and his coaching staff. Governor's Cup is back in the Ville. But another great report card. A lot of A's for Louisville in their 3 of their 4 last games. An unfortunate game in there. I keep trying to forget about it, where they picked up a couple F's for the loss at Stanford. But the bounce back has been clearly one of the best stories of the season. And report card wise, A's all over the place, and rightfully earned. So we've got at least one more hike coming up for the 2024 football season. We've got a bowl game that's going to be happening. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notify button. Hit the like button. If you want, share it. And when that bowl game hike comes out, you'll get it immediately if you have that notify button on. Also, you'll get immediate notifications as soon as the press conferences are wrapped up and uploaded to my channel. You'll get those notifications, which gives you a heads up on what's breaking at Cardinal Authority. You also get to check out some of my outdoor adventures. And for those of you who have already subscribed, appreciate it. Means a lot. Really looking forward to getting in some hikes for the basketball season, which has kind of been an emotional roller coaster this year. But certainly Pat Kelsey has the Louisville program, without question, pointed exactly where it should be going. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about football and plenty more on future hikes with Michael McCammon.